So today I thought we'd take a look at these variations of this same robot. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 8, right? Different variations, all very different from each other. Well, only 2 of them are the same almost. But this one down here in the end, I don't have a box for this one, is very cool because it's a TV robot. 2 C-cell batteries walking with the lips moving pictures in the screen. You got the walking action. I like that. I like that it continues to walk and has machine sounds and shows pictures. That's pretty cool. And this one here was sold as a Mr. Mercury. As you can see, it says walks, blinking eyes, machine sound. Just kind of repeats that. And again, it's a very basic, straightforward toy. I do like the fact that it has a metal plate. The rest of it is plastic. Inside it's metal though. So you do have the blinking eye, you've got the machine sound, you got the walking action. I'm going to start needing batteries to test these other ones with, so we'll have to do some battery swaps. So there's 2 very different variations. And here we have the Dynamic Fighter. Let's take a look at its box. You can see it says Dynamic Fighter, and it also says made in Taiwan by TIT, T-I-T. But automatic walk, stop action, gunfire, smoke with lighting, shaking with realistic sound. So, let's see. There's the walking, there's the guns and the lights. Whether or not it'll smoke and you'll be able to get the lighting right to catch it or not. You see one little puff coming out when it first starts going, but I don't know if I can get the light right on the camera to catch it. So you got the walk and stop and gun action, very typical set of actions for these types of robots. Let's get those batteries out, because I think we're going to need them. So next, let's take a look at this guy. Mighty Action Robot, Ilco, Hong Kong. It says automatic action, light, smoke, sound, and it was a display box type that the robot would sit in there. And here's the bot. Let's put a couple of batteries in this bad boy. I don't know which 2. I'm sure since all these batteries are like 10 years old, some of them might be better than others, especially when it comes to a smoking tool. It says Ilco and where it was made on the back. This one has a metal plate here in the front, plastic see-through. Very nice quiet operation. Look at that walking action. I like that. Very subdued. I can smell the smoke. Oh, I can see it. Is it showing up on the camera? No wonder I can smell it. Let's see if we can get the lighting right. I almost need a light to shine behind it. Maybe you can see it. It's actually puffing out quite a bit of smoke. So there is your Mighty Action Robot. We'll keep those 2 batteries set aside from the others. They might be a little better. Then, I really don't remember where I purchased most of those, but I do remember where I purchased this one, because I had to fight a guy at a swap meet for it. It's basically the same as that, only they've cheapened it down. Now instead of the metal plate, it's a paper decal. Instead of the clear plastic eyes, it's again a paper decal. Still Ilco, still Hong Kong. Has a different switch on the back of the head. So maybe it was cheaper to put in this type of a switch than it was to keep the other one. So that's your walking action. Got a good gun sound. And bad battery connections. See if I can get them to make a better connection. I saw one little puff of smoke come out there, so this one isn't as strong a smoker. Well, it could just need some more fluid. The battery door open, it does clank louder. So those were the only two that were basically the same, just a cheapened down version of the that version. And now we're going to get to one of the really strange ones. I've done videos on robots that stretch and change size before, and I had totally forgotten about this one. And part of me wants to think this might have been one of the first robots in this design that they made. And that's because there's a slot on the side, and that slot on the side has to do with the lifting and lowering mechanism. And yet every single one of these other robots has that slot on the side. None of them use the slot. This is the only one. So if it was already in the master mold, you would think this would have had to have come first. Who knows? Very nice. You got tin litho parts, clear plastic parts. It's a very involved lifting and lowering system that's completely different than most of the other robots that lift and lower. Let's see if there's enough room for it up here. I don't know. I've got so many robots up here. We'll see if we can make it work without falling over something. And it's going to drop down and then shoot back up again. Trying to hold it in my hand isn't easy. Yeah, it's very, very cool. There's a long gear up here that's long but narrow with teeth all the way up, a linear gear that when it moves its gear over, it engages to cause that to drop and come back around, back up again. It's a very ingenious design. I do not have the box for this guy, so I cannot tell you the name, but it also does say made in Japan, which it also is another indicator that it is definitely earlier than all of the China and Hong Kong knockoffs. Don't believe I see any other name on here. Nope. Okay, now we come down to another very strange one. This guy has a wired remote control. Again, this one was made in Japan. You'll notice it still has that slot I was talking about. But the unusual thing about it is the box. This is the original box. And it was like a salesman's sample, or a sample that they were sending to somebody to see if they wanted to buy a boatload of them or not. So I don't know if this toy ever went into mass production or whether it was just produced in a very small quantity as these salesman samples. Can't tell you. All I know is I've got one. That's the salesman sample with the salesman sample box. So on the remote, you have a button, one that says walk and then one that says gun. So this one allowed the kid to decide whether he wanted the robot to be walking, like that, or whether he wanted it to shoot the gun. Now it doesn't have a smoker. It doesn't even have a light. It just moves the gun and clicks or walks. And that's the two choices you have. Okay, and so then another strange design is they took just the upper body part of that same robot. You'll notice it still has that slot that none of them need except for the one that grows. And this one says made in Taiwan on the back. And this is of course a bump and go Rotomatic. I mean, you could tell by the base that it was at least going to be a bump and go. And now it's bumping and going. And now it's rotomaticing. And it has the flashing light eyes. Get those up where you can see them. No other marks that I can see on here that would indicate who might have been involved. This is a metal plate, so it is a tin lithoed part, and it does have the separate plastic eyes, so it's not completely cheapened down to the paper insert one yet. So there you have it. 8 very, well, with the exception of these two, let's say 7 very different variations of the same type of robot. And of course the strongest different ones in my opinion are going to be the one that walks and grows and shrinks, and the one that you can remotely control as a sample, and the bump and go one, and of course the TV robot one, which I always liked TV robots.